Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing slope-intercept form. This is something you will never forget. You will never forget slope-intercept form, I promise. All right, let's get started. So the objectives today are to identify linear equations in the form y equals mx plus b. We'll learn about what that means. And students will be able to identify the slope and y-intercept from an equation and identify y-intercept from tables and graphs. My quote for today is from Kobe Bryant. The most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. All right, so y-intercept, this is a new word. What does it mean? So y-intercept is the point where a line crosses the y-axis. So remember, the y-axis is the vertical one. It goes up and down. And then the x-axis goes left and right. So the y-intercept is the point that intercepts, that crosses the y-axis. So here's an example from a graph. It's just anywhere along the y-axis is the y-intercept. This is also the point when x is 0. So if I have x at 0, right, the point 0, and then the y, so I would go left and right. I wouldn't go left and right. It would be 0, and then up and down along the y-axis. So here's a little example. So I have the point 0, 2. So I didn't have to go left and right. I only went up and down the y-axis, and I went up to 2. So this is the y-intercept. This is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So I can just say that the y-intercept is 2, or I can write it as an ordered pair, 0, 2. So the y-intercept will always have a 0 as the x coordinate. So remember, an ordered pair is in the form x, y. So for a y-intercept, it's in the form 0, y. So I will always have x as 0. So what is the y-intercept of the graph? So I take a look at this graph, and I want to find out where does the line cross the y-axis. So I'm going to go up and down my y-axis and see, oh, there's the point right there. So it crosses when y is 3. So the y-intercept is 3. I can also write it as an ordered pair, 0, 3, where x is 0 and y is 3. So there's the point right there. You would drag a star here, but draw a star on the y-intercept. So I'm only going to look up and down my y-axis. Where does the line cross the y-axis? Here it is, right here at -2. So the y-intercept, I might just write it as int to abbreviate, equals -2, or it's the ordered pair 0, -2. All right, so let's draw a graph. Draw a graph with a y-intercept of 0, 2. So to draw a graph, you put a point on the y-intercept. So this is the red point here. The y-intercept is 0, 2, where x is 0 and y is 2. And then put a point anywhere else, because all you need is 2 points to make a line. So I already have one of those points. I just picked another random point and then drew a line through it. But what we really want to focus on here is finding where this y-intercept is. So let's do another one. Draw a linear function with a y-intercept of 0, -1. So remember, an ordered pair is x, y. So my x, I don't have to go left or right because it's 0, and I just go down to -1. There's my -1. That's my y-intercept. So on the y-axis, I draw a point at -1. Now I can just pick any other point and draw a line through it, so you can get a little creative here. I'm going to pick a point over here, just a random one, and then draw a line through it. And it's a little wonky, but it's still a line. So that is a line with a y-intercept of 0, -1, or a y-intercept of -1. So from a table, remember we can use a table to represent points on a graph. So here is my line, a graph of a line, and here's the table that goes along with it. So the y-intercept is the point when x is 0, right? Because on an ordered pair, x comma y, the y-intercept is when x is 0. So I'm going to look at a table and say, okay, when is my x value 0? Here it is, highlighted. The y-intercept is -2 when x is 0. So that ordered pair is 0, -2. Here's the graph of that table. The line that goes through crosses the y-axis at 0, -2. So when you're looking for the y-intercept from a table, just find when is x 0? When is x 0? All right, what is the y-intercept of this table? My guiding question is what is y when x is 0? So I'm going to look through my x values and say, oh, there's the 0, and here's the y value that goes along with it. So my y-intercept is 6. I can also write this as an ordered pair, 0, 6. So as long as there's a 0 first, it's a y-intercept. All right, this is huge. This is slope-intercept form. So when we have lines and graphs, we have an equation that goes along with it. And these equations are very helpful for graphing, for identifying, and we'll find out more things we can do with these. So the slope-intercept form, so we're going to see the slope in this equation, and we're going to see the y-intercept in this equation, is y equals mx plus b. All right, so linear equations can be written in the form y equals mx plus b. So y equals m times x plus b, where m is the slope, so m is our slope, and b is the y-intercept. So that's why it's called slope-intercept form, is because the slope and the y-intercept are really easy to identify. So m is the slope, so any number I can put in here to make the slope. And then I can have any number for b as the y-intercept. So this is a really, really important equation to know. So let's look at a quick example. So y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So I have the equation here. Y equals 1/2 x plus 2. So the slope is 1/2. So m equals 1/2. We use the letter m to represent slope. So if I had a graph, it would have a rise of 1 and a run of 2. A change in y values would be 1. The change in x values would be 2. And then the y-intercept, which we're going to use the letter b. So if you write b equals, I know it's the y-intercept, is 2. So I can just say that it's 2. It's positive 2 because I have a plus sign here, positive 2. Or I can write it as an ordered pair, 0, 2. Another way you can figure this out is if x is 0, so remember an ordered pair is x comma y. If x is 0, then y equals 2. 2. So 1/2 times 0 is 0, and then y equals 2. All right, so what is the slope? So the slope will always be married to the x. The slope is always next to the x. So the slope, m, equals 2. Right there in purple is the slope. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept will always have no variable attached. It's all by itself. So slope is married, y-intercept is single. So the y-intercept, we can use the letter b, is 1/2, right here. Y equals mx plus b. So there's my y, there's my m, my x, and my b. What is the slope? Slope is married to x. So my slope, m, equals 1/2. What is the y-intercept? So b. y-intercept is single and it's negative here, so you want to make sure if there's a minus sign in front, then it is negative. So b equals -3. So y equals mx plus b. So there's my y, there's my m, there's x, and there's b. If there's a minus sign, it's negative. As an ordered pair, this would look like 0, -3. So we're just identifying from the equations. So that it's there, it's in front of you, you just have to identify it. All right, and then a quick, just fun little activity is to graph a line with a y-intercept of 0, -100, and a slope of 5. So for this, we're going to use Desmos. You know I love Desmos. All right, so what I have is a y-intercept of 0, -100. So my b equals -100 and a slope of 5. So I'm going to use the equation of a line, slope-intercept form, to graph this. So y equals mx plus b. I'm just going to write that up at the top to keep me, actually no, I won't write it. So I want to graph a point, and I know my m is 5. My slope is 5. So y equals 5. 5 is married to x because the slope is married to x. And then my b is -100. That tells me where my y-intercept is in the question. So my y-intercept, my b, who's single, is -100. So let's take a look at my graph. So I have my slope is 5, my b is -100. So my equation is y equals 5x minus 100. Let's see what this graph looks like. Whoa, we gotta zoom out a lot. But you can see that my graph passes, my line passes the y-intercept at -100. So there's the y-intercept. And if I zoom in a little bit more, if I zoom in, I should be able to notice that my slope is 5. So I rise 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then run 1 to get to the next point. So there's my next point at 1, -95. So I went up 5 over 1 for a slope of 5. So that is just a little quick tutorial on that. Have a good one.